Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm. That space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are talking about the astrology of this year, and many of us know that we are in it. We are in a great shift, that this year has been very powerful so far. My guest today is Erik Roth. He is a shamanic astrologer. He's been with us before, and he explains the beautiful astrology of this year and how it differs even from last year. So I want to welcome Erik here to this show once again. Hi, Erik. How are you?
Well, Lauren, I'm doing quite well. Thank you very much.
Great. So let's first connect. We have been noticing in our community since the winter solstice, moving through that gateway, that passage, or the December solstice, let's say, depending on where you are on the planet. And that was a little, we've been saying it's rough around the edges for some, because it was a challenge to some with the energies. Maybe it was other people coming at us and triggering us, or feeling depressed and out of sorts. Do you have a reason for that? First of all, I should ask if you sensed that as well, if you noticed that with your clients, and what could be the cause of that?
Well, I don't think that there's any one true cause of all of that, but we have been, I would say, overstimulated by all the changes that have gone on, and so I would say during that time that would be more of a time of like, when we let go of things, there is a general exhaustion, and we can feel like something's missing, or there is something missing from our life, and we can feel like it's not coming into our lives, so that can bring on a state of depression because there's pressure of not knowing what to do to where to get there, or maybe there's a certain sense of a lack of hope perhaps that can show up there. Astrologically, we are during that time, we've been in the last few months transition from all these planets retrograde to all these planets going direct. And starting late tomorrow into the 27th, all the major planets will be direct for a period of about 65 days. So we're transitioning from a time where there's like we're having to taking backward steps, or taking a review of our life and having to tackle certain responsibilities and things that we have obligations to, or maybe we're avoiding it, maybe we're procrastinating. And now the shift is going on from that path backwards, if you will, not backwards in our lives, but review and rewind, taken a consideration, and then now we're transitioning to something full steam ahead here. So Uranus being the last planet to go direct of the major planets, beginning very late on Pacific coast, very late on Friday, and early morning in the middle of the night on Saturday.
Okay, so just to recap there, when these planets are retrograde, that means it's a time for review for those certain aspects of review. Okay, so then if all the planets are direct, then that would be forward motion on our goals. Is that a good time to take action and move forward?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It is a good time to start whatever you wanted to start that you may have had to do a lot of work on, or have not felt ready. Your feeling was the timing wasn't right. This would be the time to kind of get things into motion, especially over these next few months. Saturn is direct. All the other planets are direct, and Jupiter, that was one of the last ones to go, certainly the last one of 2023 to go direct on December 30th. So especially with Jupiter going direct, it's definitely more of a full steam ahead and acceleration. of things. So we're now, particularly now that Uranus is about to move that, I'd say the next few weeks, we're going to feel that sort of that forward momentum around the world as these planets are moving forward.
Do you see that as a good thing? And what do you, if you were to predict what's going on as things crumble, how does that relate?
It means that the business of the people in around the world are there's a most people probably look at it as a good thing, but can also accelerate the whatever decays might be happening, whatever things that might be crumbling and or that need to be rebirthed. There could be an acceleration of that as well. So it's a more of a mixed bag rather than just only good. I think in the long term it can be good because it's going to help us evolve and move forward as a as humanity in this world. So ultimately, yeah, I think it's going to be very beneficial for humanity.
Good. All right, then let's talk about the big news then, the big news of Pluto. Is that exciting to you?
Yeah, we won't get to experience Pluto changing into a brand new sign again until the 2040s. So it's going to be a long time before this happens again. So Pluto, as an astrologer, I'm very excited to see this happening. Pluto in Aquarius is one of the what some astrologers have looked at as kind of a sign of a general sign of us moving into a new age or so-called age of Aquarius or whatever we want to call that turning of an age. Um, and Aquarius being a strong symbol of uh, community innovation, uh, a symbol of invention, of experimentation, but of ideals coming to fruition. And it's going to take some time with Pluto and Aquarius, but there I do feel like, especially with history, is pointing to definitely an acceleration of development of on one hand technology, but the other hand spiritual awareness and consciousness evolution. So both of those things are going to be holding true. But with Pluto, there's also the insights as to what the challenges are for us, you might say the shadow of technology, the shadow of our ideals, like things that we need to become aware of and not to sort of repeat things of just going full bore into something because it's maybe initially might think it's a good thing, but ends up not being so. Like with, the last time Pluto in Aquarius, we were just after the American Revolution. I mean, just after it started, just after the Declaration of Independence. And we went into a period of an acceleration of the Industrial Revolution
Mm.
during that time. It was already early signs of that prior, but this really helped accelerate that. So the way our lives ended up shifting we became more and more people were moving into the urban environments. There was kind of an acceleration of that, more people working at factories and things like that. We were still mostly agrarian, but it was heading in that direction. And we also had many revolutions. Of course, the U.S. was born during this time. After the declaration when Pluto was in Capricorn the year before, but France had its big revolution during that time as well as others. So there's this is a chance for us to look back at our ideals and see how far we've come with them and to in our own personal lives, looking at our personal ideals, like what is that for us? What do we want? And what do we need to detoxify? What do we need to let go of in order for us to live what we want and our as far as our vision, our dream in life, and for the United States, but also for the world to come into a place of looking at that prior time and going, is this going to really serve humanity or is this not? So it's a chance more for the collective to do that. We know that governments aren't really generally don't do that on their own. It's more of the people that do that on their own. And so that's where, movement starts. That's where more revolutionary thinking begins, and Pluto is a way for us to tap into alternative knowledge and new ways of doing things that we haven't done before, um, while at the same time letting go of things that no longer serve us, especially that I think of things like technology. We might utilize a certain thing, but we don't know what the impact is going to be on humanity. And so if we look at that more carefully, or even in our own lives, if we want to try a newfangled thing and we're not realizing its impact in our life and our relationships and our family, maybe we need to take more careful look at that. This is a chance for that, but it's also a chance for, on a spiritual level, for communities to come together more, for us to connect and be together, and really uh, sing with ourselves at a higher rhythm, a higher state. There will be in the years to come, other points where Pluto will be, quote, assisted by other planets and where they end up. But this is really almost uncharted waters for humanity, or at least it's been such a long time since we've been moved into this next stage of our own evolution. And it's also the time where because we've been going through this end of the Kali Yuga, um, which ends in 2025. That's also going to be helping out us moving into setting the stage for a new age.
Oh, right. Wow. So the uncharted waters for humanity, this is really where we are in the driver's seat. You mentioned that it's the people who are the driving force here, and it's our ideals and what we wish to create in the world and what we want to be in the world. And isn't it fascinating that as we look at the world, as we, for those who choose to peek at the headlines or some of the news topics,
Mhm.
we can start to see, like there's a disturbing threat to democracy, what we've worked so hard for. And so on a good note, we're in a position to really dream forward what we want. And I think maybe this is what's happening in our world. If we're seeing challenges in countries everywhere, that this will allow the people to decide one way or the other. And maybe this is just part of the old, because it seems like we're going backwards at times, doesn't it? It seems certainly like we could be going backwards, but maybe that's just part of what the astrology is showing us, that now it's a time to move forward and to make that decision, to make the choice. And I think the collective overall will tend to go towards more of freedom, because I think everybody wants freedom and harmony and peace. What are
Yes.
your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is certainly a big topic, and thank you for bringing this up around democracy. It's what we saw in 2021 here at the U.S. at the Capitol, and the threat that still lingers in when it comes to democracy, and like what forces are at work here. Well, Aquarius definitely has a major role to play when it comes to democracy, but it also shows up in um, other forms of government and or ideals that have risen in the world over the centuries. My personal feeling is that this what we have as democracy during this Pluto Aquarius is intended to evolve into something more, ultimately more fair and balanced, ultimately something that is more closer to where we do have our freedoms, but there is also a sense of where no one person can come in, or no group can come in and just say this is the way it is and then erase that there could be a sense of more checks and balances to prevent that from happening. um, but it starts, these kinds of movements, they start with individuals, they start with groups and communities and sharing of ideas and ideals. And I think that because the old ways are holding on for so long, we know that, I mean, here in the US where I am, the back in, and we've talked about this before, Lan, but the Saturn Jupiter Pluto conjunction 2020 was part of the death rebirth of the US with the onset of the pandemic, with the all the stuff that, ripples in the pond that resulted from that also helped or intended to help transform the infrastructure, our systems, all of that being going through this composting. Well, the intent of this Pluto and Aquarius is to really help us like begin to put some pieces back together in a more harmonious way, and to take the ideas and place them in as such that we can all benefit from that. But there are people that are holding on to illusions, to fantasies, to things where they are projecting all of their power onto others to save them. And that's where the challenges can come in. And it's natural for human beings to do that. But there's also this other part with Pluto and Aquarius. What I've found in researching is with regards to our energy, how we utilize energy, both organically within ourselves as human beings, but also energy in the world. Like, how do we get energy to, make our tea or our coffee, or pump our gas, or whatever we're doing to stream the show. I believe that is intended to go through a major overhaul during this Pluto and Aquarius, including new forms of power that are more even, I would say, even cleaner and different from what we've experienced with the renewable energies like wind and solar, and even older renewable energies like hydropower. But I think it's also the age where a lot of the fossil fuels are generally going to be mostly in the sort of the background. They're not going to be the primary source of our energy by the time we get to the end of the Pluto and Aquarius period. That's from what I sort of intuit here with looking at the trends, but also looking at how these planets and these signs and what they how they help us. And Pluto is by itself can be a really powerful ally for the world if we own up to really who we are, and just look at ourselves and go, what do we need to purge out of us? What do we need to push away that is not like healthy for us? Pluto is our kind of an organic death rebirth type of thing, where particularly on a soul level, where our psyche, and this is on a collective level, the humanity is going through that. Each and every sign is going to have its different version of that. So Aquarius is more on the technological, but also on the spiritual and community side of that. And that's why I see this new version of humanity like rising up in different places around the world, and maybe help and inspire others to be connected in community, and to really do things in a way that where these uncharted waters haven't been fully realized yet. So it's a time of exploration, experimentation, and we don't have to get it right in this. We just have to, at least from my experience, to just simply show up and participate and go, okay, I really do want to have a better world, and who can I connect with to help that? And we're better off doing this with others ultimately than just sitting in our own cottage or cabin and not talking to anyone. I mean, we can do it online, we can do it physically in person, or both. And definitely a combination of things probably is probably the best of both worlds in that. And I do feel like the how we communicate and we connect with others in community as well. I think that's also Aquarius has some threads in that as an archetype in that. And so that this could come through more like there could be another revolution in that zone for humanity. So I'm very optimistic with Pluto and Aquarius, but I do feel we still have some that humanity still got some major bumps to overcome to get to that point.
Yes, and so this is the interesting aspect of it. We're going to talk about some other things. I've got some notes here, but I want to go to where Pluto is in Aquarius for most of this year, right? But
Mhm.
then around September and October, I know you're
Yep.
going to clarify this for me. September, October, it goes back into Capricorn, like a ret.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then, isn't
Mhm.
that interesting? What is your take on that? Because that's right around just ahead of those elections here in the US. And I find that fascinating. So we're really at a choice point. Your take on this?
Yeah, this is interesting. So September 1st of 2024, Pluto does go back into Aquarius, oh, back into Capricorn. It retrogrades back in for about 2.5 months. And then November 19th, 2024, it is back into Aquarius. And
Okay.
yeah, the US general elections right there at the beginning of November. And this is I look at it as a like giving us another opportunity in what we truly want and what we desire here in the US. And which it does have reflections of 2020. So part of the reason I say that, a big part of the reason I say that, not just with Pluto, because Pluto was in Capricorn in 2020 during the US general election, but that was also the time where Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter were all like clustered together in November of 2020 at their closest point within about 4 to 5 degrees of each other. So Saturn and Jupiter are again involved in this with Pluto. So um, this period um, in the fall of 2024 and into 2025, actually summer, fall, and all the way through a portion of 2025, there are three Jupiter Saturn squares. So Saturn is in Pisces, moving all the way up to 19 degrees Pisces. Jupiter moves into Gemini at the end of May, and they'll be squaring each other. Meanwhile, Pluto being in Aquarius, that's going to be, from that point, it'll be trining uh, uh, Jupiter, and then Saturn will be squaring Jupiter. So there's this really interesting relationship, and I do feel it's our first 1/4 turn, like intersection from that point where we were in 2020. So it's a major intersection, this U.S. election. Now, if I were to make a prediction about who's going to win, I would have to look more about each of the individual candidates, particularly Biden and Trump. Although I have peeked at some of that, and I do feel that Biden has a greater chance to win the U.S. general election again. But when I'm looking at this um, uh, particular alignment with the planets, there is some possibility, some really challenging times coming in, because anytime we're dealing with a square, it creates a lot of tension. And then Pluto is back into Capricorn. And so there is this last little bit of death rebirth with the sort of the structures and systems and how we connect with our lives through all these different systems we interact with: educational, health, political, bureaucratic, government systems, economic systems. All of these different systems we interact with in our lives there is still some more of that changeover. So how that's really going to unfold is going to be, I think, uh, very fascinating. And but I do feel there will be um, uh, a big, even more massive spotlight on this than previous elections. And but I feel that there's also a sense of a more youthful energy coming out in this election, that in part, large part, because of Jupiter and Gemini coming through. I think that there's something stronger and a rise when it comes to the ideas and energy of the youth coming forward. Um, and and then Pluto will move into Aquarius on November 19th. And that, between that and through the 20 years after that, that's going to be a we'll get a greater sense of that this period here will be one of the last vestiges of what we had to contend with from prior years around the threat to democracy. I don't think it'll be completely erased. I still think that there's going to be still some governmental changes, but I think that there's things that'll be kind of put down to bed, if you will, for the most part, until later. Now, I do think that democracy is going to continue to evolve. That what we have today is going to be look quite different than when we get into the 2040s, at the end of the Pluto Aquarius cycle. But this first Jupiter Saturn square, there'll be the next sort of incarnation of Jupiter and Saturn, in that when they were conjunct in 2020 and even at the end of 2020, they were conjuncted at 0 Aquarius at the end of 2020, where Pluto is right now. And so Pluto is helping to activate what Saturn and Jupiter did, and then going into a square with each other, a 90-degree square. We're moving in that next octave of that. And this is where there could be some major happenings. But I think that ultimately we're going to be, overall, we're going to be okay. We just have to, really follow our truth and who we are, and participate in that. If we are asleep, if we are just walking around like zombies all the time, we'll be at the effect of all of this, and have no say, or we may not really know what to do or how to react to that. But this is a chance for us to a greater awakening, particularly with Pluto and Aquarius, even though it dips into Capricorn. That Aquarian energy theme will carry over, largely through that period, but there's still some left over from that. So all that stuff that happened in 2020 and is still sending ripples today, we're going to be reaching that another wave. Doesn't mean that the pandemic's coming back into a big strong wave of it. Viruses evolve, and we work with them, we adapt to them regardless of how they show up. And I think that all the ripples that went through that, we're having to still come to terms with all that. We haven't, as humanity, really come to terms or really done the kind of healing we need to do since that time. And this could be this period where we need to kind of check ourselves with all of this.
Wow, thank you for that synopsis because we are certainly individually doing the work and preparing for our own lives to step forward in new ways. And so when we look at it on a collective, the Light Tribe has been saying that it's got to crumble. For decades, we've been saying it's got to crumble. And so it is crumbling. We're seeing the assistance coming from the planets and the stars. They are, the astrology is absolutely helping in this process. And so are the elections and the situations on our planet. It's actually pushing individuals to go deep within their ideals. And so to me, it seems like it's all aligning, and wow, really powerful. So as humanity moves through this, as individuals, as light workers move through this, would you suggest that we, again, or what would you suggest that we step into, really take an inventory of what our ideals are, really focus on what we want to bring forward? We're already beginning to sense that this year, communities coming together in new and fresh ways.
Yes.
That's already happening. And it actually, even just yesterday, last night, and the day before, just a couple of things that I've noticed. It's been miraculous, actually. And then I look and I say, well, we're really into the Aquarius right now. So that's a good thing. And it really makes all the new Earth leaders step up more and
Yes.
share wisdom that we have within. Because in the past, we were shy to do this or scared to do this.
Hmm.
And there really feels like there is a pulse moving forward, or an eagerness for people to really once and for all step in, even if they might not know what they're stepping into, but to step up in a new way. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
on that? Have you felt that as well?
Yeah, I have definitely felt that in recent years, and it keeps building up more and more for me as an astrologer, knowing that I could do some work in helping others out there, in my studies of even alchemy, and particularly alchemy with when it comes to our spirituality and our psychology. There's some really powerful tools that all healers can come into, and as I learn even other modalities and connecting into different methodologies, I can also help people as I have been, but in new ways and bringing people together. And so it's formulated a lot of ideas within me. And I had a conversation. I have a relationship that I'm in, and I remember talking with her back, gosh, I think it was a couple of months ago. Um, but we were in the car and we were talking about, like, what is the fifth dimension? What does that mean? What does it mean to be in that? Is it, so we had this really interesting conversation about, consciousness, and, what does it mean from even a physical perspective? What does it mean to move, be moving or evolving, and trying to connect into the fourth and the fifth dimension? And I believe that that's the sort of the direction that we're heading. And I've been seeing more and more, especially when I do all of these holistic fairs. I'm doing another one this weekend here in Oregon, this coming weekend, and there's just a greater uh, desire and hunger for uh, self knowledge, like understanding, why are we here? What are we doing here? What's our role? How can I, and then discovering that they are also healers in this world. It's like I meet quite a number of people that come to me for readings that have a piece of themselves that is a healer in this world. And that I think part of it, the earth consciousness, is wanting us to come forward, to be heard, to be seen, so that others can be helped, and that particularly the earth can be helped. And because we know what kind of challenges that she's been under for quite a long time, for decades, if not hundreds of years. And, we have a chance now, because this is where I feel like if there's one thing that can unite humanity, it's Gaia herself. That I don't feel like there's anything else on this planet that can truly do it, other than to recognize the fact that we are all human beings. There's still a lot of polarization and separation and, division that is going on around the world, which is why we have wars happening. And the more that we create, that certain governments or groups create division and separation, that we can still have those kinds of wars. But if we be able to recognize and see within our heart and soul that we're all related on this planet, and that we're here to be good stewards of the earth, we can come together and do that while still having a life, while still being able to do it, but in a more conscious manner. And we can't just keep thinking we're going to, uh, keep this type of capitalistic growth over and over and over again, and think that's all going to be okay for Mother Earth. But no, it's not. We need to have shifts in the way we do things here. But all the planets are here to help us. They are allies, they're teachers, they're guides and initiators for us. So if we fulfill our life purpose, if we connect into it and have an awareness of it, then we can do a lot more good in the world, because we're coming from a place within ourselves and truly being who we are, and evolving beyond and connecting more into and being, what we call, what you shared, light workers, and I would consider myself as part of that category too. So there are a lot of people that are coming into that awareness, that greater awareness, and trying to do good. I think that there are a lot of, we hear a lot of the bad stories in the media, but with violence and whatnot. But I think that there are a lot more good people in the world, and some of them are just not, quote, waking up, but they're doing acts of kindness every day.
Yes.
And really that's what we need more of, and showing how it's done through that, even if it's just helping carry the groceries in, from the store, or, helping someone out, by donating food, for example. Things like that can send ripples themselves through time and space. And so we can change it through our actions and through our words. I mean, even just walking around out there and, you know, smiling at somebody,
Yeah.
and that one smile could shift the course of their life.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen, and you never know what that individual was thinking or doing, or, maybe something challenging happened, but it brought a spark of inspiration, or a little bit of a joy in their heart, and they were able to move into a new space for themselves.
Yes, I totally agree. And that is why I too am a eternal optimist in this process. And as you were talking about what is 5D, that is living in the fifth dimension. When we're
Mhm.
able to always stay connected in that way, to care about others, to feel, to totally live from the heart. And, I think what we see out there in the collective that makes the headlines, I'm gonna say, I hope it's a small, ugly minority, right? Or maybe just or read between the lines of everything and look for the hope and look for the shift that is happening underway. I see that in stories when I read the newspaper, and I'll be able to see some things. I just read something about a 99-year-old swimmer, and she's just doing what she loves. That story right there is indicative of the shift that's underway, and breaking the mold, breaking the labels that are put on humanity. So it is very exciting. And everyone watching this on this platform is a new Earth leader, whether they're aware of it or not. And so this is encouraging for us. And I want to just state, you do personal sessions with people. We're going to talk about the options that you have, but this is how you help people find their purpose or get clarity on their purpose. And it's
Mhm.
through the shamanic astrology readings that you offer. So
Yes.
it's very cool, and it's really wonderful, and it's individual for everyone. So we're talking about a collective right now, an overview for the planet for everyone. And I would like to say, when we're talking about this shift with the help from Pluto in Aquarius, and the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the industrial age that came from that, when we look at the youngsters on this planet that are well aware, they're wired for the fifth dimension. They're
Mhm.
already in their
Yes.
hearts. And so to think 20 years from now, they're going to be the new leaders. So I get goosebumps when I think about that. And I'm really excited about that. And we're starting to see, because we are stewards of Earth, we are paying more attention to how we treat Gaia, how we live on Gaia. And so when we move away from fossil fuels and we get this free energy, this also means I feel ETs are going to be maybe just full on disclosure is going to come out during this time. Have you contemplated that at all?
Yeah, I have. It's definitely come up in my mind. There are those that have shared that this is the time for disclosure. In fact, I have a couple of friends, one in particular who has been following that trend and with Congress because they've been interviewing people from the Defense Department and other experts
Mhm.
and here in the US they've been releasing videos about unexplained phenomena and that there is this greater sense of a move toward that direction where we will become more formally, quote, aware in the mainstream, if you will, while Pluto is in Aquarius. I do feel like there is a stronger chance for that to happen while Pluto's in Aquarius. So that we could get or some get maybe some signal or from outer space or from some visitation that we are actually made aware of instead of it being hiding in the shadows. Like that the shadow of the celestial realm, the shadow of all the people that have been seeing things. And I know of people that have had contacts and connections with them. And so that there's something there, there's something that is wants to be into the light. And that is an opportunity for humanity, I think, at this point. Uh, Definitely the government and or other governments, but also communities to connect into that potentiality. I think we can see. I mean, over the last century or more, we've been fascinated with extraterrestrials, and we've seen evidence in depending on what you've read, but in ancient temples and other things of depictions of sky beings that have come down. So it just leads one to have a lot of questions like, okay, what was really going on there? Was it just were they just shamanic journeys and they were sharing what they were experiencing, or was it something more than that? So I think maybe a combination of both, and that there is this potential for otherworldly beings to appear during this Pluto and Aquarius transit here.
Yes, it's already happening, actually. And so that our individual experiences as we come together and share, and as groups come together and connect with the ETs in their groups, then that's going to be disclosure. We, the people, are disclosure. So again, that's
Yeah.
very exciting. Thank you for that. Okay, here we go. There's a question coming in. Wild Iris has a question. Thank you both for this information. I'm brainstorming a local musical event focusing on peace advocacy this year. How beautiful, Wild. Are there auspicious dates to be aware of, to aim for or avoid?
Okay. So obviously you'd want to, my recommendation would be to do it while Pluto's in Aquarius. And I would also this is really interesting. I think of some of the other planetary transits um in April. There is a very powerful alignment happening between Jupiter and Uranus. And there's also a powerful solar eclipse that's going on April 8th. In fact, the month of April is really loaded astrologically. Um, and I point this out to where if someone was wanting to really take advantage of some, potent astrological energies that are maybe end up becoming helpful. I mean, Pluto will still be in Aquarius then. The Jupiter Uranus conjunctions on April 20th officially, but the entire month of April, they're close together. And they're in the sign of Taurus, which is about abundance and comfort and pleasures and sensuality and feeling good in the body. But I've also equated Taurus, particularly Uranus's transit through Taurus, is in the connection of the comforts and beauty and the pleasures of the earth, the bounties of the earth. So in our relationship, if we want to connect with that earth pleasure and still see it through, it's like protecting that earth. And so I feel like that Uranus Jupiter conjunction during that time can help us reconnect into the earth in a new way, potentially even have breakthroughs. So as far as auspicious goes, I would also find it really intriguing and maybe even revolutionary if you were to plan it for that time period, which is also around the time of Earth Day as well. So that could be, I don't know if that's too soon for you, but that would be one that I would recommend. And the other times would be, Saturn and Jupiter have their first square in August, while Jupiter is in Gemini and Saturn is in Pisces. Uh, that could be a good time to kind of help, like what we call break the ice of doing some powerful spiritual work, because there's a lot of like strong energy in the air during that time. But it's also good for Gemini is good for uh, connections with others and also community to some extent, but just in contact, communication, that kind of thing, and having fun. And then Pisces is definitely good for divine and connection to the divine and dreaming and doing shamanic journeying, that kind of thing. So that combination, you might be able to take advantage of some of those energies during that time there.
Excellent. Okay. We hope that helps. So April and August are great times. And is there anything else you'd like to share overall about this year? Any other things that point themselves to you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely the eclipse on April 8th. I'll just share that it's, you know, it goes through the US, it goes through Mexico, and it's a really powerful one that involves Chiron. And so it's a actually an exact three-way conjunction with that. So there's a lot there about healing
Ah,
in the sign of Aries,
mhm.
powerful healing. But I would also share that during this time, if we're looking at some major themes and maybe what uh, we want to do here in our life, this is a chance to really connect into that, knowing that we're in a transition and we're building something for the future here. And so at this transition is being a crossroads. It's a chance for us to step into and be responsible for our path, particularly in the second half of this year. And I love that this what was her name that was planning this?
Wild
Um,
Iris.
Wild Iris, yes. Um, I love that the Iris is planning this particular event. I think these are the kinds of events that we need more of, and they can really stir the energy and get people aligned with themselves, but aligned with the earth as well. I'm doing myself a whole slew of psychic and wellness fairs around the Western US, particularly Oregon and California. Um, and that is connecting into this energy with all the other light workers and healers out there. Just the so I'm these are we could say like mobile communities that are I see at various fairs, so they're all kind of getting together, some of them in different ways, and it's really beautiful. And I think that those are seeds for creating even more community. And I think if there was one thing that I would do is continue to develop your relationship with Mother Earth more strongly during this time, um, because she's the one that's going to help connect us together. And I know that, when if we're having some really rough periods, and yes, we've got some speed bumps on this path, look to the heavens, look to the stars, look to your guides, look to earth. They're there for us no matter where we are, what we are doing. They're always present for us. And I saw the brilliant, beautiful full moon, which is today, Leo full moon. I saw just before it moved into um, Leo here, I was just around the time last night. And this is like this day is a strong creative day for your visions to come out and to make yourself know, you make your visions known to your more conscious selves, and to have them, to implement them. Um, so this energy is all around us, and we can simply just take advantage of it. It's not that you have to. You might go to someone to maybe help you, maybe get some guidance and or some tips and some wisdom and how you can access it yourself, but we all have that capability of doing that within.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. It really is inspiring, and people need to be, they want to be inspired. And so as people get clarity in this and what their visions are, and we remember that we are stewards of Gaia, and we step up and develop that relationship with Gaia. I know everyone here has an immaculate relationship with Gaia, and and even part of the communities that I witnessed coming together was centered around protecting a river and the environment. And so it's beautiful. And let's talk for a moment now before we say goodbye, that you help people in these personal sessions that you do, help people get clarity on their vision and see their unique astrology, their unique chart in this picture, and how they can roll and take advantage of these opportunities. So share with us about your special offer and the different readings that you have.
So I'm offering a some packages here with the different readings, and some include just one reading, and then the others two include multiple readings plus a kind of a bonus video, kind of an astrological journey video that I've created. I have offered this before. I'm actually in the process of creating some new material, and that's going to be coming in the future. So we can do, the next time we connect, Lauren, we can do that. But in my work, I help people look at themselves perhaps in a different way, using the archetypal and shamanic magic of shamanic astrology, and connecting into like, oh, where is their purpose? What is it about on a deeper level? Not that, oh, I'm going to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, but something specific around, your soul's intent in this life. And also looking at the timings in your life, like looking like what is a good time to do this or that, or maybe you're in a relationship pattern, or you're, needing to leave your long-term job and to doing something else entirely. And I've helped quite a number of people connect into that. And I also work with people in astrocartography and relocating themselves to other places as well. But I'm here to help people thrive in their life, and doing what I can to through the work of shamanic astrology and my intuitive senses to help each and every person that comes to me. So it's something I do for a living, and I will continue to do that for years to come now.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And it is so helpful to be able to see the timings of things. We heard from Robin, who is Wild Iris. Wild Iris is the business name. And Robin says, spot on guidance. Thank you. And yes, was thinking of Earth Day. Great mind meld. Perfect. Well, see, Robin, you've already been tuning in, and that's where it all is beautiful. So for those who would like to work with Erik and get this insight on timings on your chart in the grander scheme of things, check it out. The special offer link is here in our Zoom audience. If you're watching this show on our webpage, scroll down and see this webpage, or the link is here on our YouTube channel live stream as well. Thank you to everyone joining us today. I wanted to say as well that the package, you can get a full astrology reading. That's 90 minutes. It's very in-depth. A lot goes on in that. It's recorded so people can listen to it again. And there's also two shamanic readings that people can use, and it says use within 3 to 12 months. And that's really great because we can come back and get a refresher on it. And it's really perfect. And then another option with that shamanic astrology guidance video, or the video, a bonus video that you have. I wanted to say there's a 2 payment option as well in our shopping cart. So people who need help with that, we hope that that makes it easy for you to join in and take advantage of this beautiful opportunity with Erik. Did you want to add anything else about these sessions and the time that people use?
Yeah. Well, if they get multiple sessions with me, this if they do a second with the second one, it doesn't have to be right away. They can wait some months to schedule the second one. And I after the first one, I always recommend to give themselves at least a couple of weeks to allow the insights to come in and integrate. And then they can use the second one in whatever way that they want, in whatever direction that they want. So yeah, it's I do it in a custom way just so that I can meet the needs of each individual.
Very good. Okay. Well, thank you for being here today, Erik. It's always really wonderful to get this insight from you and to see our path moving forward. We have got this. New Earthers have got this. I say dream big, get clear on your vision, help yourself with a reading from Erik to get clear on that and to find out the timings. We would love to have you work with him and help planet Earth as well, Gaia herself. The stars thank you as well. Okay, Erik, as we say goodbye, any final thoughts?
Just keep know that I think ultimately humanity is heading in the right direction. We've got some bumps on the way, but each individual, we have our free will to use, and Mother Earth is going to be there to help us along the way. So, keep going and keep breathing.
And keep hugging trees and
Yes.
the ocean.
Yes,
Caring for the
absolutely.
animals. Yes. All right. Thank you, Erik, for this beautiful show. And thank you, everyone, for being here. We absolutely love you and we thank you for your bright light. And Erik, thank you and have fun with all your journeys this year. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. All right. Be well.
Thanks.
Blessings.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Namaste. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.